Hello, my name is Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we continue our look at Marvel Champions with a deck building guide for Hawkeye. We'll give you the lowdown and skinny, aka the strengths and weaknesses of the purple garbed arrow slinger, and provide you with a sample deck list to set you on the path of conquering even the most difficult of challenges, both solo or multiplayer. As with all Marvel Champions decks, we start with the identity card and go from there. What we see is an alter ego in Clint Barton that is driving a flashy car. Is that really superhero work? But we also see reference to a card named Hawkeye's Bow. Very much the enabler for an Eye of the Hawk deck, but interestingly one you have to pay a buck for. I'd certainly rather be getting this free during setup like Captain America's shield, but one thing it does give you is a little bit of protection against upgrade hate. On the flip side, the hero of the day boasts a pretty below par stat line, 1, 2 and a 1 for base stats, alongside an average hand size and a pretty ropey health point. Begs the question, will Ready and Hawkeye's Bow be worth it to compensate for all these uninspiring native stats? I generally have a sense of what aspect I'm interested in pairing an identity with at this point, but I'm not sure that's possible, so let's delve a bit more into his signature cards. Hawkeye's Bow gets our native attack up to 3, leaving us only one card down at the start of the game, and at this point making the game plan from the hero's perspective look a little bit more obvious. But what about these arrows this here Bow is banging on about? Well, welcome to the party, ladies and gentlemen. The 5 toolkit arrows that Hawkeye has at his disposal. Electric, Sonic and Vibranium are the most impactful, each costing 2 resources. Now, Electric brings some stun synergies and damage, Sonic covers the other angle with confusion and damage, and Vibranium goes straight down the middle with extra damage and laughing in the face of any toughness markers. Cable and Explosive, on the other hand, are by no means duds, despite costing only $1, and the former gives you the ability to thwart wherever the goddamn you please, and the latter gives you a term I coined during Spider-Woman's video, situational consistency. Even if you play this with no minions, there's no need for the sad panda face. Fling this with one-on-one minions engaged and sit back and watch the fireworks. Okay, so I've seen some signposts on the way to this point, and they weren't what I initially expected. The natively high attack with the bow suggested go aggro, but that low health pool made me nervous. However, with 2 of those signature arrows delaying the enemy with confusion and stuns, and another on minion clear up duty, it gave me the confidence to say, Donald duck it, let's go full aggression. Anyone that says you can't mix purple with red is about to be proven wrong. Before we see how those red bordered cars make Hawkeye tick, though it's worth noting that this deck really wants to be drawing Hawkeye's Quiver and Expert Marksman. The former is just so good at keeping arrows on tap and will really make a turn at the table that much more consistent, so mull heavily for this arrow pouch. The latter is a resource generating card you would almost expect to see in the deck at this point, and can often mean the difference between 1 or 2 arrow activations a turn, subject to you being able to ready your hero of course. So come on now, how are we going to keep Clint alive long enough for him to go full glass cannon on an unsuspecting foe? Well, I've already alluded to it, but we're going to throw a decent chunk of stunnage and confusion down to limit the incoming damage and threat. But we're also going to throw a few allies in their way as well. We're at a point now with the available card pool that even non-leadership ally choices can do a job. And here the job is to tank, distract and generally meet shield for our guy. Oh, and if they're economical then they get the nod as well. Brawn, Hulk and Sentry share one thing in common. 5 points of big beefy health if you need it. Brawn is in by virtue of being a dual threat attacker. That tick 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 threat removal should not be underestimated. Ally Hulk makes me want to cry a lot, but works well here. We've tried to and largely succeeded in stacking the deck with physical resources, and so the chances of a premature discard are slim. And Sentry is great stats with a swingy downside. To be honest, I don't like further exposure to the encounter deck or high costs with this type of build, but in terms of raw stats, when he hits the table, you'll be doing plenty of work with him. Then you've got Mockingbird, Nick Fury and Spider-Girl pushing the remaining elements of your game plan. I have to say Mockingbird is one of the sweetest allies I've ever seen. Very solid all-round stats for 3 resources is a bit of alright, but it's the return to hand ability that has me salivating. Like renewable shielding at a fairly economical price. I absolutely love this signature ally. And Nick Fury we know is good, all one and done, but I'm primarily interested in his ability to fish for those key cards, Hawkeye's Quiver and to a lesser extent Expert Marksman. But, and this part is key, 3 cards could turn an arrowless turn into a here they come to save the day. And Spider-Girl is there for her enter the battlefield ability and overall value, despite having only 2 health. In terms of events, we're excited about Dropkick and Press the Advantage because of the stun fusion synergies. Now don't get me wrong, no part of me is excited about Dropkick's damage for cost, but the high probability of stunning the enemy and drawing a card with all the physical resources in your 40 pushes this card over the top, and pretty much the exact same story can be told of Press the Advantage. We then exit stage right with a couple of harmonising event and upgrade combos. Mean Swing and Yarn Bjorn are a match made in heaven. You don't ideally want to be exhausting Hawkeye's bow, but if you're not packing any arrows you're quite happy to. So having Yarn Bjorn at the ready to get tapped down and allow you to sack a physical resource for some cherry damage on top is money in the bank. Skilled Strike and Combat Training don't really count as a combo, but when you consider how little it's costing you in this scenario to shove 6 damage down an enemy's throat, then you can see the damage capabilities that Hawkeye Aggression brings without even needing to tug on the quiver. And this here illustrates that against all odds, Hawkeye is not just a one-trick pony. So there you have it. We haven't featured all the non-signature cards that are in our sample deck, a link to which can be found below, but certainly those that have the most flavour and interactivity. If however you like the idea of a Hawkeye deck but not so much with an aggro-y flavour, then consider piloting the good ship Leadership. With low cost cards like Wonder Man and Get Ready, as well as new cards like Ready for Action. It's a similar story as here, with you throwing allies in the way, but this time you're even more reliant on them getting the job done for you. So that's it for this guide though. I do hope you found it helpful. Let me know in the comments how you've been enjoying playing Hawkeye, and I'll see you next time.